And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Hexpanse, which is a space-style game, and that's pretty much all I knew about it. So, if I'm wondering, how do I play Hexpanse? So I'm going to grab here the back of the box. It says, in the not-so-distant future, there is war in the ruins of the shattered interstellar human empire. 4 factions are fighting. This is a tactical game of planetary conquest. 2 to 4 players are warlords here, and they must be quick to win this competitive pattern-building strategy game and conquer a planet with their fearless army, special allies, tricky mercenaries, and actions. Alright, that sounds interesting. Let's take a look. Okay, so here we see that this is the board for the game. This is a 4-player game. The board actually is a 2-sided board. You'll use a smaller Earth or world if you're playing with 3 players. Each player is going to have a faction. That faction is going to come with some regular units, and then depending if you're playing with a, what version of the rule, you might get some upgraded units. You definitely get some of these green tokens here. If you ever hire mercenaries over the course of the game, you can just put this in here, and now you know that character is yours. You also have a token here which shows your life of your warlord, a token representing your warlord, and if you're playing an advanced version of the game, you'll get like a little minor faction here that you'll have with some special people here that you'll be able to, units that will have that ability of that faction. On a player's turn, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to get Hexilium. So each player has 2 tracks down here. One is for their income, so this starts on 1. And they start with 0 Hexilium, period. So whatever your income is, so here my income is 1, I'll move this up. Let's say my income is 3, then I'll get 3 per turn. One of the actions you can do is make your income go up by 1. And to do that, you pay the level you go to. So if this is 2, I would need to pay 2 to make my income level go up. Another thing you can do is you can put units on the board. So I can just simply take a unit and put it somewhere on the board. Now units can attack each other. If I'm attacking another unit of another player, I'd have to be adjacent to them, and then both of them, the attacking and the defending player, are sent to the recovery ship. One other action you do is you can pull someone from a recovery ship back to where you have your base here. You can also just pull someone off the board if you want to, put them back in your reserve. You can play action cards if you have them. You can activate mercenary special abilities. You can gain a Hexilium, and you can increase your level. Also, once your warlord's on the board, your warlord can heal for 1 for an action, and you can move your warlord. That's the only piece that can be moved on the board. The rest of the pieces are going to be going around. Now, why are we doing all this? We're doing all this because of the mission. The mission means on the board somewhere, I need to have my pieces in this shape, or this shape, or this shape, or this shape. Whatever it is for that game. Although some games have one that everybody can do, and one that you're trying to do on your own. If you pull this off, you win. Another way you can win is by killing the opponent's warlord. Every time your warlord gets attacked, instead of being removed from the board, they take a damage, and if you get down to the skull, then you are dead. There's also cards that players can buy. These cards are various things. Some of the cards will give you a mercenary, which you'll find amongst all the different mercenary tokens to the side. And you'll add that mercenary to your group. Others give you a one-time special action, like this one here lets you attack a whole different region of people. They each have a cost at the top of Hexilium that you'll use to buy those. You'll buy those at the end of your turn. And that is pretty much it. There's more to it than that, and you will find yourself looking in the rule book because each person has their own special faction ability. You'll have to figure out what all those different action cards do. But the game is going to be you placing pieces out here and forming a pattern. So in this case, got my soldiers here, and there we go. I built this pattern here. I win. Now realize that I got the Admiral's Edition here, which I think is an upgraded version. There's actually some extra boards here. You can play on Mars, I think. And by the way, these boards here, when you land on these spots, you get extra money. That's why they have these marks on them. So there's some extra pieces that there's a whole extra sheet here with expansions and things like that. The boards themselves, everything in the game is good quality and like how it feels and moves around. My issue is with the artwork. So here we have the artwork for the yellow player, the Union of the Trader Worlds. Fine. Here we have obviously a Kickstarter backer who they put onto this guy's body. And that's kind of the way the whole game is. You'll look at these people, and as you go through these, especially with the cards, it seems to me like as I'm going through and looking at the artwork, which isn't necessarily bad artwork, although some of it is kind of just, it's kind of a mishmash. But every once in a while you run across someone and say, is that like some gamer whose head was superimposed on top of the action body? And it just kind of, to me, removes from the game. Like, that looks like this guy is actually playing Call of Duty on the PlayStation. And then you put him and her in the same game, and they don't really match up to me. The rest of the pieces are fine. There is a ton of symbology, and I'm glad that the game comes with a page that explains how, if I want to know how Severus Snape, works, this says gain 2 hexillium. Some of them are easy. Others, we found ourselves constantly having to look up, and I'm glad that they have a full color page and it explains what every minor faction, what every card does. But there's definitely some problems there. The game is not a complex game at all, but having all those little special abilities there can be problematic. So other than the art, which I'm not a big fan of, the game is mostly good. My other problem with the game is these life dice, right? You keep track of this, and so you start with 6 life. Fine, I don't know why we use the hexillium symbol for that. Then I go to 5, then over to 4, then over to 3, then to 2, then I'm dead. Or is this 1? Like, what? Oh, that replaces the 1. Not useful. Also doesn't count down very well. So 12 to 11 to 10, then 9 is over here. What kind of weird counting die is this? That's just an odd piece. It is what it is. Now, my first impression of Hexpanse was, wow, this game looks really cool. I brought this to many game meetups and for a while before it got played, and everyone's like, when are we going to get around to playing this? It looks nice. Like I mentioned, there's that problem with the bad Kickstarter art, but you don't see that on the cover, and you don't notice that when you first open the game, and you also don't notice that for some reason in this game there's a faction from the Confederacy. All right, whatever. And so it looked pretty interesting. It's, when we set it up and I started noticing the artwork, okay, fine, I'll live with this. It's something that bugs me, this anachronistic putting, backers into games. But the game itself, yeah, it's pretty terrible. It's pretty rotten. I don't like it at all. I think this game will work for some people, but I'm not sure who. So it's a fighting game. Yeah, dun, 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 dun. So you're putting out units in your turn, and your unit goes out there. So I place a unit, then attack with that unit. Now your unit dies, and so does the unit that attacked him. Unless I'm using an elite unit from one of the special rules. So that was exciting. Okay, now I'm going to bring out this mercenary, and I'm going to blow up 2 of your units, and okay, then you just put them both back on your turn. This seems like it's not really a fighting game. You're right, because it's not a fighting game at all. It is a pattern building game. The game is literally just, can you put all your people in a pattern? Sure, you can kill other people's warlords. You're not going to kill my warlord. You know how I know you're not going to kill my warlord? I'm not going to put it on the map. Or maybe if I do put it on the map, I'll surround it with my guys, and because once you put your warlord on the map, until then you don't get your warlord special abilities, which aren't that fantastic. They're okay. So coupling that with, hey, I need to look up what these cards do every single second of the game. This game feels nothing like a space battle at all. You are watching someone build a pattern and say, oh, they're pretty close to finishing a pattern. You stop them, and then again we run into the problem in this type of game that I hate, and that is me, Susie, Johnny, and Francisca are playing the game, and Francisca makes the move and she can go, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to stop her. Why would I stop her? I'm going to work on my own pattern. Johnny, you stop her. Johnny's like, I'm not doing it. So then Susie has to stop Francisca, because if she does not, she's going to win. And I'm almost finished with my pattern. I'll stop you. I'm almost finished with your pattern. He'll stop you. And that's just not fun. That coupled with, and it has this fighting theme, but you're literally just putting tokens on a board and removing other tokens. And you say, Vasel, that's how all fighting games are. You're right. But this one you say, I'm attacking, now I remove both pieces. That's just not fun. And that's the big thing about this game. It's not fun. At no point when I played this game was there any any entertainment provided for me by the game. The whole time I kept thinking, when's it going to be over? Tempted to throw the game to another player just so that we could get to something else. I tried it with the basic rules. I tried it with the expert rules. There's really no difference. I even tried it on the Mars thing. Yay! No! Boo! I can't really recommend this game at all. I wanted to like it. It looked fun. I was excited by the short time frame. But even for only an hour or 45 minutes, this concept, put tokens out, place them, build up your income to get more income so you can buy cards and use these cards, put up more tokens. It's a big looking game, but it's really small inside, and I just didn't find any fun. Maybe you will. Not me. Dice Tower Judgment, boring!